In this video, we're gonna go over lessons I've learned the hard way. Look, after turning 30, I wish I knew these lessons sooner. They would have saved me a lot of pain and made my life a lot easier. So just because I've turned 30 does not mean that I'm some sort of guru. I'm not here to preach. I most definitely do not have everything figured out. I'm just a guy who's made a lot of mistakes and I've learned a lot of lessons, and hopefully that you can take some insight from this video, avoid them mistakes, and help you move forward in your life feeling better. So without further ado, we're gonna dive into this. I think it's actually gonna be a pain to go over these, because sometimes they're gonna be these are gonna sound obvious, but the boring stuff always works and it'll make a big difference in your life. So when I hit 30, things sort of shifted. Stuff that used to matter didn't. Stuff I used to ignore now means a lot to me. You obviously gain wisdom with age, and the thought is that youth is wasted on the young, and it's a funny saying because you can't be young and wise, you can only be old and wise. So I'm in the middle now, which is a weird one. These aren't rules or lessons you have to stick by. They're reminders, I would say, more for me than anything. I'm probably gonna watch this video more than you. These are little truths I picked up from training, failing, building businesses, and messing up pretty much everything in my life. So these are just trying to make me a better man. So it's been a lot of internal reflection, and I think you'll get a lot. So the idea is take what hits, ignore what doesn't. Not everything's gonna apply to you. I'm just like you. I make a mess, I learn, I move forward, and I try to do the best I can. And a lot of these I picked up of other people, but they've made a big difference in the last 12 months plus in my life. So without further ado, let's go. Lesson 1, you cannot always cure the mind with the mind. Sometimes I think everybody's energy, mood, even mental health goes up and down, and people say just think positive. I do believe this works, but it's very difficult. And whenever your mind is spiraling at 2 a.m, you cannot sleep because something is just acting up in your head, and you know what that's like, whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whether it's something trivial. And the truth of the matter is you can't always think your way out of that problem. Sometimes the problem isn't just mental, it's chemical, it's physical. It's almost like you feel like you've got a puzzle you cannot solve. And I want you to realize that that is normal. You're human. I get that, you get that. Everybody gets that, no matter how high up you think they are. And I want you to think about it. What usually cures that for you? And for me, and I think for you, it will be an exercise. Now, I'm not saying get up at 2 a.m. and flush out your thoughts, but I do think trying to cure the mind with the mind doesn't always work, especially if you're feeling low. Curing the mind with the body always puts you in a good mood. Name the last time you went for a walk and you regretted it. I've never went for a walk and went, God damn, I wish I didn't do that. The same with a workout, even if it was bad. And if you're anxious and you stay in bed, or you stay on the sofa and you watch TV, or you stay in your own thoughts, you tend to get more anxious. Whereas I feel like movement clears your inbox. It's the only way to clear out your email inbox is by actually getting in there and moving and doing the task. And it's the same with meditating is great if it works for you. Quotes are great. Dopamine hits, serotonin. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with meditating, journaling, if that works for you. And it does work at times. But if you struggle to actually get out of your own head, I think there's nothing better than actually moving. Going training, going for a hard run, even meeting your friends and getting out of your own head. Because one of the things I'll always say is, if you're bench pressing 100 kilos, 225 pounds, you can't really think about your trivial anxiety or questions or what's going on in your life because you're too busy focusing on moving the weight. And I think sometimes it's in Star Wars, you're using the dark force, and then there's time and place to use that, and then there's time and place to shift and use the good, so positive self-talk. And then there's some things that just frustrate you, and you have to use that fuel for positive. Now, I'm not saying turn into Darth Vader. I'm just saying that there is different ways to skin a cat, and I think that everybody's enlightenment is very different. So sometimes I feel best when I just have blood flow. Think about it. Name one time you've worked out, went for a walk, done anything, and you felt worse. When life feels heavy to me, I try to pick up something heavier. It's hard to hate yourself or struggle with your mental health when you're mid-set. You're too busy surviving each individual rep. So for me, if you're struggling to cure the mind with the mind, get some blood flowing, and I guarantee it will help a small bit. Won't cure everything, but I always notice I think clear whenever that happens. Lesson 2. Look, this one's gonna sound really obvious, but I think it's gonna make a massive difference in your life. I knew this sooner, but I wish I implemented it. It's gonna sound so obvious. To get something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Every decision I've made has put me in the position I am right now, whether I like to admit I've made that choice or not. My body, my income, my relationships, or lack of, all of it are receipts of my past decisions and what I've done. This really puts things in perspective for you. Because as much as we don't want to take responsibility, when we take responsibility for our actions and where we are right now, it allows us to get complete control, and you realize everything is within your power to change. There's a time you'll want more in your life, and I think it's very important to realize to get more in one area, sometimes it's very difficult to balance all these plates. So if you're pushing forward in one place at a time, sometimes it goes like push and pull. So your social life might go down slightly if you're pushing business or physical development, but it doesn't have to be for life. And it doesn't mean you always have to go on this hard push. You can still balance all and move forward. And I will say this caveat, think about it. If you make normal average decisions, you will end up with normal average results. If you want an exceptional life, an exceptional body, exceptional any avenue, you're going to make exceptional decisions, ones that go against the grain. I remember whenever I used to knock out on Saturday nights so I could work on Sundays and build my coaching business, it was like almost frowned upon. Like it was almost like my friends didn't like it. I got like jokes with a jag. However, after like 5 years, my business built. And the thing is, I had the receipts to prove it because I gave up drinking for like 3-4 years, and I pretty much gave up most socializing on a Saturday. Now, I'm not saying to do that, but I wanted a different life. And the thing is, an exceptional life is like compounding interest of exceptionally different decisions that go against the grain. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It doesn't even have to be in all areas, but for example, if you are going to the gym 5 days a week, you're eating clean, these are not normal decisions to a lot of people. And to an extent, you're paying like a tax of discomfort, and that is tough to take at times, but to get to where you want to go, sometimes that is required. And I want you to know you're not being cheated. Look at anyone that's giving you advice. Unless they're in the position you want, you shouldn't take it. And the responsibility of us is to realize that life is not fair. These decisions do not balance everything. But to get to where you want to go, sometimes you have to make that tough choice. And excuses, balance, all these things just sound best to the person who makes them. Because whenever you think about it, who does that excuse, oh, you know, it just doesn't suit me, I've got X. It only sounds good to the person that's coming out of their mouth. It doesn't sound good to anyone else. Do you want to be the person that dies and goes, well, you know what, he was average in all areas, but you know, he had pretty good excuses. It's like, what? And most people who think they're average are below the grain in that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying if you want more in one area, you have to be willing to go further than you have before, because otherwise you would have that result. For example, you've lost 40 pounds and you want to lose another 20, but the fat loss is stalling. You're probably going to have to go harder to get more. I think we trap ourselves in these because for a long time I tried to balance things and give myself a hard time because I was not balancing everything. But balance for me is actually prioritizing different things at different times in my life. For example, if I have a new child as if I have one. Not that I know of, but you get my gist. Look, I would prioritize that child for a long time period over everything else. So as a result, you know, certain things wouldn't be my priority anymore. But your priorities for moments can shift. Your work can be a priority, then your physique. Then you might need to take a back seat and work on your mental health. And these are all just shifting plates. And because balancing all at one time, sometimes you just have to put one down. That's why some people let their physiques go and then give themselves a hard time. And that's why inside my coaching program, we always focus on the minimum standard. It's always at least 3 workouts a week and no 2 bad meals back to back. See, once you do that, you tend to not really get out of shape once them habits are ingrained. Anyway, the point of this is to get exceptional results in any area of your life, you need to make different choices than the normal. The meaning exceptional is different to average, and just realizing that in your head makes you go, you know what? It makes sense why like my businesses went well, my physique has went well, why my relationship maybe didn't go as well, because I didn't make as good of choices as I could there. I made average choices, and that's why that relationship wasn't good enough. And as a result, I want an exceptionally good relationship. So my next relationship, I'll make the better choices. Oh, bit of a different one, but I think that's just a good thought process. Lesson 3, we lighten this up. It's not the journey or the destination, it's the company you keep. Everyone says enjoy the journey. Yeah, but try enjoying the journey if you're in a car with the wrong people. We've all been there. You've been in a plane with a screaming kid. Even if you're in business class, that is tough to enjoy. Nothing against kids. Mine will do the same one day and I will hit them for it. No, I'm only messing before somebody comes to me. But you get it. The company changes everything. The people around you. Now, I don't love this idea of your network is your net worth. I think if we all become social climbers and nobody hangs out for anyone, you could be heading to the best place in the world, the Maldives or whatever your ideal fantasy is. But if you're with the wrong people, and I'm sure this has happened to you before, it can feel not so paradise. It can feel more like a trip to, you know, the underworld. The right people around you make everything feel better. And I think this is really important because otherwise your success in any area just feels empty. And this has happened to me before. You reach your goal and you've nobody really to celebrate it with. And it's not the same. It's not. This came to me as like a realization because whenever I hit a major milestone, what I actually done was sit at the back with my mom and dad. And I was supposed to go out for the night. I was supposed to go celebrate it like a normal 30-year-old would. And I ended up sitting at the back with a fire in the middle of November with my mum and dad. And we had a cup of tea. And 1 hour turned into about 5. And for me, they were talking about how well the situation had went. We were like, it was like a small chat that turned into a celebration, I realized that that moment for me was one of the best of the year. And the funniest thing was, it didn't involve yachts or champagne or women or any celebration things that most men think. It involved me, my mom, my dad having a good conversation, a laugh, and we ended up looking at like baby photos. And for me, that was one of the best moments of the year. The company around me, it wasn't where I was back home in my mum and dad's garden with a wee small heater. I had the most laughs, and I think no matter how high or low my life goes, if I think of my worst case scenario, I probably end up with my mum, dad, and friends having a laugh about it. And if I think of my best case scenario in all areas of life, I just probably end up at a different location with the same people. So the people are the constant that nobody thinks about, and it makes the biggest difference. And I cannot emphasize the importance of this, because there's this constant thought process now about your net worth is your network, or whatever that saying is, and that burns me. It actually pushes society to climb into this value social ladder hierarchy where we just climb on top of each other because I think he's making more money or he has more followers, so I'll be friends with him. And you can see it. You can see if these people lost their followers, their money, their friends would disappear because they just came from that. And that's why I think no matter how high or low it goes, the company stays the same. And I always love the idea that no matter how up, how down, a beer with your friends or family and a laugh is about as good as gets. And that's all I want for my life. So I think for me, keeping my company right is the most important thing in my life. And I'm going to give you more examples where I've struggled with this, and I reflected upon it because I've had so many hard times in the fire service where we would have a horrible incident, right? There would be something that's tragic. And yet I would find solace, like I would find comfort in the fact that after these major incidents, we would always have a laugh as a crew about it. Now, it wouldn't be about the incident, it wouldn't be about the person, but we might make dark jokes. There might be having crack with each other. And there was a bond made in that moment that made like the chaos more bearable. And it completely just dissolved everything. Without them fellas in that pump, and we call the pump a fire engine, you just don't get through it the same. And you would notice if you had the wrong crew around you, you're not in a benefit. It's like, if I'm going into a house fire, do I want to go with somebody I trust and care about? Or do I want to go with somebody who's read the textbook 1,000 times and knows all this stuff? Or do I want to go with somebody I actually trust to drag my ass out of the fire if something happens? So the right company is everything. The right people don't just walk with you, they help you carry the weight of life without even feeling like it's a weight. It's not the path, it's not the journey, it's not the destination, it's not the path, it's not the prize, it's who's walking beside you is most important. Lesson 4, if you cannot enjoy a coffee in your back garden, you will not on a yacht. Now, I've had a coffee on a yacht once, and at first I didn't agree with this until I actually had the coffee on the yacht. Some of my best memories, as I said, are like sitting in the back garden with my mum and my dad, having a laugh with my sister, or having a beer with one of my friends. They're simple pleasures. That's literally it. One of the best things in my life is just having a laugh. And I really struggle to do that if things are taken too serious. Whenever I reflect on the time I actually had a coffee in a yacht versus having a cup of tea at the back with my mum and dad, I've been in that yacht in Spain, coffee I think it was. And if I'm honest, it just didn't hit the same because I was with people that, don't get me wrong, I liked, but they weren't my people. And you might think, well, what's this about? Is this the same lesson? It's not. It's that gratitude matters more than location. If you're not content with your cup of tea in the back garden, you will not be content on the boat because they're the same thing. And I'm not saying happiness, because I think if you actually tell yourself you're chasing happiness, you're telling yourself you do not have it. I think contentment is a better goal for most people to aim at because it doesn't dangle this carrot in front of you that you can never get. Contentment isn't out there. It's being content with what you have now, regardless of the situation. It's like having peace of mind. There is no price on peace of mind. You see people will trade everything for it. It's not worth it. Peace is not waiting at the top. It's built at the bottom. And for a long time, I was a person who always thought, I'll be happy when. I'll be at peace when. And in reality, if you're this sort of person, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be content. And if you can get more grateful in the moment, like if you can really enjoy that espresso in the morning, that chat with your friends, you can be grateful now. You'll be more grateful and have more humble build up and have a better time if you stick with that mindset and you actually focus on it. And just being grateful, because if you write a gratitude list, but I always say this, if you know me, you're a client, you'll know I always say this: roof over my head, food on my table, family, healthy. That is all I care about. And that's me being very transparent. If I have them 3 things, for me, it's a good day. And that just resets my baseline. And the more I say that, the more it reaffirms it with me. And I think if you're watching this, hopefully you have food on your table, a roof over your head, and hopefully, I pray to God, your family is healthy. That makes you richer than, in my opinion, 90% of the world, because not only do you have these 3 things, but most people don't appreciate them until they are gone. And that changes everything. Gratitude does change everything. It's not ooey wooey. It's changing your brain chemistry. And if you understand like Mo Gadot's like approach to happiness, it's all like neurochemistry, and I think is neurotransmitters is the word. You're building like neural pathways, and the more you focus on these things, the easier it gets to just be more content. I would be just as content now, and it's not because, you know, I've done okay for myself. It's actually just because I've focused on it more. So gratitude is that lesson, and just realize that if you're not happy where you are now, you will not be happy when you arrive there. It's simple. Number 5, you do not need more time. You need more focus. I hear this all the time. I used to be this person. I just need more time. There's not enough hours in the day. No, you don't. You're wasting the time you have. And I'm not going to turn into one of these people telling you you've got more hours in the day and work harder. I'm actually saying you just don't need extra time. You need to stop bleeding minutes of your life into nothing. Things I see: scrolling, doubting, overthinking, researching, like watching too many motivational videos. That is not strategy. That is procrastination wearing a suit. The same as these people who say, I'm a perfectionist. If that's you, I'm sorry. But a perfectionism is just a form of procrastination, just dressed up real and sexy. What I've done, because I am dating, because I noticed I did not have enough time, I just deleted all social media off my phone. It is only on my laptop, and whoa, all of a sudden I have spare time again because I took responsibility and I realized that I was BSing myself. We all say we're too busy, but in reality we're not. We're just too distracted. At 9 years old, no one is going to turn around and say, you know what, I wish I watched more reels on TikTok. That's going to be, in my opinion, the biggest regret our generation has. It's going to be, you know the way you ever see the line of regrets, like the list of regrets it's called, and there's like 10 regrets that people that die or dan have, and it's always like, I wish I worked less, I wish I spent more time with family. Ours are going to be number 1, I wish I scrolled less and lived more. So just remember, if you remove social media, and I do recommend only using it on your laptop, that will be the biggest game changer, not just for your productivity, but your overall happiness. You'll stop comparing yourself. You'll notice you just feel better. It's a game changer. And if you don't implement that and go some sort of excuse that I went over, like I needed to talk to my friends, you can WhatsApp them, you can message them on a different app, you can do it on the laptop, or you can just ring them like a normal person. Since social media's came out, it's never been easier to win because everybody is so distracted, so lazy, giving themselves so many excuses. And I've seen countless creators preach this. I'm not preaching it because I am a person who falls victim to this all the time. But just resetting the standards and deleting it has made the biggest difference, rather than using some app limit that doesn't really change the game for me. Lesson 6, you do not need balance. You need priorities. Everyone is chasing balance, but balance is just a polite word. It's a bit confusing, to be honest. I think it's almost like a buzzword people use to sell coaching programs. I think it's a bit of a weird one because I don't believe we'll ever have true balance in our lives and live like some sort of monk. You cannot give 100% to everything, and there's always something that's going to pay a price, and to me that's okay. There's certain times you'll have to prioritize other things, and life runs in seasons. There's a time to build and there's a time to breathe, and there's nothing wrong with either of them. You can't always build an empire and enjoy the moment. Sometimes it's hard to do both. So for me right now, I'm in a period of breathing. I've had a hard push, gained 1 million followers on Instagram, 3 million all platforms, pushed businesses, pushed my physique. I'm having a breathing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But whenever I'm in a building season, your sleep shortens, your social life shrinks. That is not burnout. That is focus. The same as right now, I'm focusing on breathing. So I will have a beer. I will socialize more. I will take a more relaxed approach because I'm focusing on enjoyment of this part. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the work. It's just balancing where my focus and enjoyment goes. People don't fail because they lack balance. They fail because they do not know what truly matters to them in that moment. And just because you focus on work or family or breathing at this time period does not mean that you have to focus on it for life. You can do this during winter and this during summer. Pick what energy serves you best for that moment. You do not need balance. You need clarity. Pick what deserves your best energy and stop apologizing for it. Lesson 7. I love this. I love this next lesson. It's one of my favorites, and it's the most frustrating for me because it's taken me a long time to realize it. To go fast, you must go slow. Here's the saying. It sounds odd, but fast is slow, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. My dad said this to me once and it always stuck with me. It sounds weird, but it's the truth. So think about fighting. Think about boxing, right? The rookie swings wild overhands. He's fast, he's gassed, he's absolutely wrecked, and more than likely going to lose in the long run. The pro moves slow, ducks, weaves, pivots. They're controlled, they're calm. So just remember that speed comes from control, not the chaos. In fighting, the slow fighter sees more. He reads, they react, they wait, they know when to strike. And I'm not saying slow down and do nothing and procrastinate. They actually move quicker towards the goal because their decision processes are better. Do you ever hear the story of the rabbit and the hare? There's a reason the hare wins. The tortoise wins because the hare makes mistakes more often. Slow builds smooth, and smooth becomes fast. The same with your business, the same with your training, the same with your life. Patience builds power. Consistency over time will give you the result you want. The reason this relates to me is because I've always been a case of a person that I want to be there quicker. I want to work harder to get there faster. And a lot of the time, it's actually just giving it time. That's really what it is. Like, to build a good relationship, you can't rush it in 2 weeks. It takes years. To build a good physique, it's the exact same. To build a good business, to build anything worthwhile in your life requires hard work, consistency. Patience is the missing ingredient, or time, and then you get your result. That's it. Next up, you can build a perfect body and still hate the person in the mirror. I've been this individual, always picking at myself. Changing how you look is easy. Changing who you are, that's hard work. Most people train to look confident. This was me. Few people actually ever become confident from getting in shape. They chase the validation of others telling them they're in shape, the Instagram likes, the girl telling you big arms, which never happens. Not the personal growth. They chase the body, not the discipline. They chase the compliments, not the character. The gym isn't about aesthetics, it's about accountability and who you build underneath. Your external should show your internal just to the world. Like, when you see abs, it's standards, and you should be proud of that. You showed up when you said you would. You stopped breaking promises to yourself. You didn't hit snooze. And that's where the real confidence builds. It's this process in circles. Like, if we drew a circle here, hopefully my videographer can do that, me and Matt Joseph. Motivation, consistency, patience, results. I always talk about that, okay? But what I want to highlight to you is the consistency part of this is so key. And it's the same with your promises. If I was to talk about the confidence circle, I always talk about this with my clients, is we make a promise to ourselves, we keep it, we build confidence, and we repeat. And this builds us up. Like, imagine putting bricks in a wall. The exact opposite effect happens whenever you don't keep the promise. You say you're gonna get up at 6 a.m. You hit snooze. You broke a promise to yourself. There's no way you wake up feeling more confident that day, and your confidence doesn't go up, it goes down. So this is the exact process I want you to think about, is every time I keep a promise to myself, you build your self-respect, you build your self-trust, and you build your self-worth, which is your self-confidence. You can't fake a look. You can't fake self-respect. And one day you'll realize the body was never the goal. It's the person that you want to be. It's the proof that you finally start treating yourself with some goddamn respect. If there's one thing I've learned that throughout all this, it's like nobody ever arrives. Like, now I'm 30, I always thought, like, when I hit 18, everything would click into place. When I hit 25, everything would click into place. When I joined the fire service, everything would. You never really arrive. You just sort of keep making mistakes and learning and trying not to make the same one twice, which I've made a lot of these multiple times. I would say the breathing, slowing down, giving it patience has taken me 10 years to learn. And I still fall off. I still overthink. I still mess up. I do still make some of these mistakes, but I've stopped chasing perfection. I just chase progress. And if I'm moving forward, I give myself a breather. Focus on your body, your head, your habits, and hopefully this has made a massive difference. If you need a hand with anything, feel free to DM me. Like, share, subscribe. And if you do not learn from these lessons, I pray to God that you don't have to go through the same pain I have up for them. It's cost me a lot. Until then, keep training, smashing it. Big love. I'll see you in the next one.